Lovie Smith was announced as the Texans head coach. He and what's my man's name in Miami? Was that
Flores.
who?
You said Flores?
No,
Are
no,
you saying Mike McDaniel?
Mike McDaniel. Yeah, they are the two minority hires for this coaching cycle.
Minority. That's interesting.
I mean, Mike McDaniel, I think he's a quarter. One drop rule.
I don't even know if would that be considered a quarter? Let's see, if your grandparents or something.
If your parents are half, yeah.
This guy's like an eighth of if and let's keep it 100. I mean, godly, come on, man.
They got the compensation for the minority hire though.
He's a fucking eighth black man. Right.
So
let me tell you something, Lee.
Uh-huh.
My great grandfather is a white man. I mean, what are we really talking about here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where do we draw the line on this stuff? And we need to. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get into that too. That is a serious issue with that.
That's going to be a post football season podcast where we can really like go deep into that one.
Okay.
Because I think it's sick that you got to do this draft compensation. Like
it's stupid. It's stupid.
And it's also crazy that if it's a coin flip hire, that the owners won't take the minority hire and get extra draft compensation. It really shows you how much they are stuck in their principles and not necessarily focused on winning. It's like, hey, dude, you get more draft picks if you hire this black guy who is just as qualified as this white guy.
Right, and we don't feel like the team will go in any different of a direction depending on which one we pick. So it's a problem, and we'll touch up on it. But back to Lovie.
Yeah, Lovie. Gotta love Lovie. He has a 500 record as an NFL head coach. He had a good run with the Bears up in Chicago. You know, the weird thing about this hiring was he was not one of their finalists, but it was like they subbed out Brian Flores after the lawsuit and then subbed in Lovie, who was already on their staff as the DC. So good for Lovie. I think Lovie's deserving of a head coaching job. He's going to be better than a lot of these new coaches. But we have to understand that the Texans roster is bare, and we don't know if they have a quarterback yet.
And I know they're gonna give Davis Mills run. I think that they were pleased enough with what he did towards the end of the season because he didn't look terrible. There could be something there. I mean, he was a rookie 3rd round pick. I mean, we got to give these guys more time. And I think that keeping Lovie, like I said, it was a continuity thing too. So like it made a ton of sense. The defense wasn't god awful for the Texans. Yeah, they had a couple games where they got blown out and gave up points, and that just happens in the NFL. I mean, hell, the Falcons got blown out 3 or 4 times this year. So I mean, that happens in the league. It does happen, and so Lovie is continuity. He's an NFL, basically football lifer.
Absolutely.
You know, I was a little surprised by it for one reason, probably more than anything. It's because his last job, even before this, he was the head coach at Illinois, and college is different from the NFL. But man, that Illinois football team was fucking bad. And
who can win there? Like, who can win at Illinois in football?
I mean, Brent Bielema is the coach now, and they improved. They were better than they were under Lovie last year, the year before that. And so we'll see. But Brent Bielema is also a college fucking coach, and he's familiar with the Big Ten, you know, in the recruiting for that part of the country. So there's continuity there, right? And so
Lovie's an NFL guy.
Yeah, and Lovie's an NFL guy. And so I just think that there was continuity there. Lovie's probably looked at fondly around the NFL. Obviously, him and Tony Dungy were the first 2 black coaches to coach ever in the Super Bowl, and it just so happened to have been the same game. So I think that he's looked at fondly. The players probably like him too. And like I said, I think it was just more of a continuity thing. Plus, Brian Flores, you know, basically, you know, shutting the door on himself.
And the league office made a phone call and said, y'all better not hire Josh McCown. We got enough going on right now with these colored folks.
Right. We really don't need you to hire a high school football coach, even if he played in the NFL for 16 years. We would really like it if you don't hire a high school football coach.
A high school assistant coach.
Right. I was about to say not even a head coach, but he's a high school football coach. Like, the fact that they interviewed him, and think about it, there were the reports last year that he was going to be the guy. But at that point, too, My question is, why not just keep David Culley on instead? I don't know. They won as many games the year as they did the year before, and Deshaun Watson played the whole season. So I didn't understand them firing Culley to begin with. They knew that he was never the coach, and that's why they fired him, because they never wanted him to be the coach. Nobody wanted that job. The Deshaun Watson cloud was over the organization.
And you know what? Their front office is a shit show. Let's be honest. They got the preacher running the show, and it came out that Nick Caserio would be on the headset during the games. What? I mean, I get it. He's a Belichick guy. He may know football like on the field better than most GMs. And if I look up his Wikipedia, he may have some coaching experience. But come on, man. Like, why is the GM on the headset during the game? Like, bro, go GM. Sit in the booth with the owner.
Right. And, it's a shit show. I wish the best for Lovie. I don't see this lasting past 2 years. But, because here's the thing, too. You got to look at that division. You had the Titans, obviously. The Colts should have made the playoffs. And then you got the Jaguars, who are just as much of a shit show, but probably are definitely headed in the right direction by getting Doug in there. It's funny because I literally called Doug Peterson as soon as it happened. I said he would be the perfect guy for Shad because he's a Super Bowl winning head coach. He was, to me, he was the best hire of all the coaches. He was the best hire. And I do think that you're going to see change in Jacksonville. I'm not saying that they're going to make the playoffs next year. Wouldn't be shocked at all if they won 6 or 7 games, though, in the first year.
I think it's crazy that Doug wasn't a hot coaching prospect. Because if you look at what he did in Philly, he ran a great operation over there and really got his legs cut out from under him, because we got Howie Roseman, the best GM in the NFL, who wants to just dictate everything and is in the owner's ear. And I mean, my God, they benched Jalen Hurts the last game of the year last year. Like, come on, man. What are you doing to Doug? I mean, you drafted Jalen Reagor. Hey, Josh, y'all drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson.
And then, they traded up this year to get Devontae. They could have traded up last year to get CD, even if that was who they really wanted. Let's say that's who they really want. You could have got CD. There's just a lot of stuff that team. But I just think that it's good that a guy like Lovie is getting another opportunity to be a coach in this league. I just think that he is getting set up for failure too. And did they release the contract on him? Like, I know he didn't get a 5-year deal. He probably got a 3-year deal. Maybe 4. I bet they didn't give him the 5, though, that you need in a rebuild when you hire somebody. Like, think about Herb. Herb got a 5-year deal, but of course Herb got fired for reasons. You know what I mean? There was legit reasons why this guy got fired.
Oh, no, he got 5 years, $25 million.
Lovie?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right, so you know what? They're going to give him 3. He will get 3 of those. And as long as there's progression by year 3, he'll maybe live out the contract.
I wonder what his buyout is, though, because that's what really matters.
Well, here's the thing. Think about it. Yeah, the buyout would only be for him getting fired. I don't foresee anyone being like, oh, yeah, we got to get this guy in here,
Me neither. But sometimes that buyout holds you from firing him so soon, especially when you paid out David Culley $24 million reportedly.
If his guarantee's 15, then like I said, he's going to get the guaranteed 3. He's going to get all 3. He's going to get those first 3, especially if it's his 5-year deal, because you're giving him at least 60% of the contract, right?
Yeah, and that makes sense. I'm rooting for Lovie. I hope he turns it around, because let's not forget the Texans are two seasons away from being a playoff team. Had they just hired a GM instead of letting Billy O'Brien run the whole operation, they probably would still be a contending team in the AFC South.
Think about Bill didn't get any I don't remember him getting any head coaching interviews.
You know why? They watched that terrible offensive game plan that he ran against Georgia. Yeah. And that terrible red zone execution. They were like, nah.
He was, and let me speak as the devil's advocate, also known as an Alabama fan. He didn't have his 2 best receivers on the field. And he did go against an all-time college football defense. We're talking the 85 Bears version of college football defense.
Hey, it's your job to scheme him open there, coach, and he didn't. But
he didn't.
Vanilla bland play calling. You know what?
And they were in until the fourth quarter.
Think about what Lane would have been doing, dialing up those plays, or even Sark.
Sark was drinking halfway through the games, So his creative juices were definitely flowing. Love Sark. I wish, the more and more I look back at that, not to get too deep into the Falcons again, we probably should have a count for how many times I bring up the Falcons on the podcast, because I bet it's every episode.
That would be, I'm going to write that down.
We need to get a sound. We need to get a sound effect that you play every time I say that. Something about the Falcons. I don't know. It could be like Samuel L. Jackson saying "Rise up" or some shit. But
that's what I was thinking, actually.
Yeah. But nonetheless, a guy like Sark, he didn't get his fair shake. I think that we should have kept him, and I think that the offense would have been a lot better than that.
I think we should have kept LaFleur, but
we should have hired him to begin with. It's every other team does that type of shit, and I don't know. We got to be so different.
So all the other hires kind of make sense. I mean, we knew what Miami was going to do. They were going to go oddball coach. We knew that the Saints were probably going to go Dennis Allen. I think the one shock was Byron Leftwich pulling his name out of Jacksonville after they did not let him choose his GM.
LCPL Jackson.
So, it is what it is. But speaking of Tampa Bay, let's get to Brady.
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to say one more thing on the coaching thing.
Okay.
The craziest part about it is, in my opinion, the hottest coaching candidate. Who do you think it was? To me, none of the hottest coaching candidates took jobs.
I thought it was Harbaugh. DQ.
I thought it was DQ. I thought that he was the one person that I think multiple teams wanted. And I think that he honestly didn't think any of the situations were good enough.
And DQ knows that he can get another head coaching job if it's right. But if it's not right, he's not getting a good job.
And then more importantly, he won't ever get a head coaching job again after that.
Exactly. And Jerry probably fatted his pockets and said, hey, look here.
Highest paid DC in the league.
If Mike keeps this shit up.
Right. We might need you to audition in the middle of the season. But then again, we already know who's taking that job next season.
Oh yeah, Sean Payton.
Yeah, it's got it all. It's written all over.
I'm happy Kellen Moore didn't get hired because he would have been a disaster. I mean, he's supposed to be a great play caller, and he's not. So why the hell would he be a great head coach? Anyways, Brady.